Well, Colts Nation, it finally happened. We've been waiting for the day where Dwight Freeney would finally be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And at NFL Honors Night, he was finally announced as one of the guys going into the Hall of Fame in 2024. It's finally happening. Now, there are plenty of Colts that deserve to go into the Hall of Fame. Of course, the Hall of Fame is very backlogged right now because only a certain amount make it. So there are a lot of guys that should be in that are still waiting to get into the Hall of Fame. Dwight Freeney was one of those guys. He's one of those guys no longer. So what I want to do here, I just want to go through and look at what he did in his career, kind of remember everything from Dwight Freeney and everything that he gave to us, all the numbers, all the accolades, everything that came with Dwight Freeney. Started his career in 2002 with the Colts, ended up playing with the Colts for 11 seasons. In the very start of his career, he started with an All-Pro and Defensive Rookie of the Year. And what makes his rookie year so impressive is the fact that out of the 16 games that he played in, he really only started 8 of them, but you go through and look at the numbers. He had 1 pass defended. He had 9 forced fumbles in his rookie year, 1 fumble recovery, 13 sacks. He also had 20 tackles for loss along with 46 total tackles. Like, his rookie year was absolutely dominant. Rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year was a sure thing for him, right? Being an all-pro is incredible in his rookie year. Then you go to year 2 where he starts 13 games, plays in 15, ends up with 4 forced fumbles, 11 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, even had a touchdown in that second season, 10 tackles for loss with 34 tackles, ended up as an all-pro on the all-pro second team and a Pro Bowler. So to start his career, you could just tell this is a guy that eventually is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Like, you just knew right out of the gate, right? Then the next 2 seasons where he ends up as first team All-Pro, ends up as Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row in 2004 and 2005. And of course, being an All-Pro, also making the Pro Bowl back when the Pro Bowl was the Pro Bowl in 2004 and 2005. And in those respective seasons, like 2004 was the most sacks he ever had in a single season with 16, and then followed it up with 11 the next season. In those 2 seasons combined, he had 29 tackles for loss. He also had 10 forced fumbles in those 2 seasons combined. So Dwight Freeney was an absolute beast right from the get-go. Now, coincidentally, you look at 2006, the year the Colts went on to win the Super Bowl, that ended up being, like, statistically his worst year with the Colts, where he only had 5.5 sacks. Now, 2007, he had 3.5 sacks, but he only ended up playing in 9 games in 2007. So we're talking, like, when he plays a full season, this was the worst year. And again, that's 5.5 sacks. He had 4 forced fumbles in that season, and he had 4 tackles for loss, but those numbers clearly much lower than they were before. Now, you also have to remember, a lot of these numbers are happening with Robert Mathis on the other side, right? Dwight Freeney was drafted in 2002. Robert Mathis was drafted in 2003. So what Dwight Freeney was able to do in his career, especially early on in his career, was absolutely amazing. And then there was a time where Robert Mathis was the guy. Robert Mathis was getting, 16, 18 sacks a year, right? But then you go past 2006 and 2007, Dwight Freeney turns into Dwight Freeney again. All right, people thought there might have been a fall off happening, and then he turns into himself, ends up getting Pro Bowl in 2008. And in that season, he had 10.5 sacks and 12 tackles for loss, along with 4 forced fumbles. Then in 2009, Pro Bowl, and then it gets an All-Pro once again, has 13.5 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, only 1 forced fumble, but you can tell that he had his impact on the games. Again, 13.5 sacks. 2010, 2011, both Pro Bowl seasons altogether had 19.5 sacks in those years. And then in 2012, that was Andrew Luck's rookie year. That was the first year of Chuck Pagano, where the scheme changed to a 3-4 scheme, and he ended up being a right outside linebacker more than a right defensive end. So it was a little different for him. He ends up with 5 sacks. And then in 2013, that's when he leaves to go to the Chargers for a couple years, then ends up at Arizona and Atlanta. And for his career after the Colts, he ended up His best year was with Arizona in 2015, where he had 8 sacks and had 5 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles. So, all in all, when you look at the 11 seasons that Dwight Freeney spent with the Colts, he ended up with 44 forced fumbles. He ends up with 107 and a half career sacks as a Colt and has that 1 touchdown, and also had 113 tackles for loss as a Colt, 112 quarterback hits as a Colt. And looking at the numbers that matter for him, in his entire career, 125 and a half sacks and 47 forced fumbles. Looking at the accolades for Dwight Freeney, 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All Pro, 1-time Super Bowl champion, and was on the all 2000s team. So Dwight Freeney made his impact on the game, made his impact largely with the Colts. We are so lucky to have had him be a part of 98, 93, Bring the Heat Boulevard. Having Dwight Freeney, growing up watching Dwight Freeney work, that patented spin move that everybody talks about. It's been said so much that it's almost overplayed. But Dwight Freeney is a game changer, was a game changer. He is somebody that people still model their game after. Dwight Freeney, so deserving of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and finally is going to be able to be inducted and be alongside some of the other greats. And there's so many more that have to get to that point. Robert Mathis, Reggie Wayne are atop of that list. And I can only hope that someday they'll get there. But Dwight Freeney getting his time to shine as a Hall of Famer. Can't wait to watch him get that gold jacket put on him, and love to know what you think of this. Tell me your favorite moment from Dwight Freeney's career as a Colt. I'd love to know. You let me know down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. We're going to continue draft talk tomorrow, so make sure you have those notifications turned on. Of course, I appreciate you joining me for another episode. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.